So, in my experiences dealing with cigars and dealing with spirits, we have already said that everybody's palate is different. What you perceive is different and whatnot. My palate is not the same as yours, and yours, and so forth and so on. But one of the things that's really kind of opened my mind and my palate and my experiences is, having these Zooms, Cigar Culture Live, where I talk to people in the industry who actually make cigars, people in the industry who actually make spirits, and also, larger point, who make glasses as well. And one of the things that I figured out is this: when it comes to pairing, and I know there may be some people who will see this and who have disagreed, and that's perfectly fine, because as we said, everybody's palate is different. But on a baseline level, what I've experienced is that when you are pairing a cigar with a spirit of choice, it is always best to go heavier on the cigar than it is to go with the spirit. And that's because liquor, something wet that is, sits on your palate a lot heavier than smoke does.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So, like say, I'll do an Angel's Envy. Yeah. We've all had Angel's Envy before, right? You had Angel's Envy before, right, Drake?
Absolutely.
Yes, I have, absolutely.
So we can all agree that Angel's Envy is kind of like the champagne of whiskey, in a way, right? It's light, it's flavorful.
Bourbon, specifically.
Right, exactly. So, having said that, if somebody says, hey, you know what? I'm going to be drinking Angel's Envy tonight. What would you suggest would be a good cigar for me? Mild, medium, or full, right? Well, just dealing in that realm, I would not tell somebody to go with a light cigar. I wouldn't tell them to go with a full body cigar. I'll tell them to go with a medium body cigar, because that Angel's Envy is kind of light, it's flavorful, but it's light in body, right? So you go with a medium body cigar, because one thing that I learned from Klaus Kellner from Davidoff, he does a lot of pairings, and it's very key. He said that there are two types of pairings. One is a complementary pairing, right? And I'm not quoting him exactly on this one, but it's more of a contrast pairing. So you have two types of pairings where you have the notes in a particular spirit would be totally different from the flavors that you're getting in a cigar, right? Mm-hmm. So it'll be kind of a seesaw battle on your palate. They'll be going kind of back and forth, back and forth. You can perceive both flavors, right? But then you have a complementary pairing where the cigar that you're smoking, the flavors that you're perceiving would be similar or the same to the notes that you're perceiving in your spirit of choice, right? So they would build on top of each other. So having said that, it really depends on what you're trying to achieve that particular night. Are you trying to achieve a certain flavor that you're trying to build on all night, or you're trying to play seesaw on your palate? Does that make sense?
It makes sense. Yes.
Right? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So say if you had a cigar, like, let's say you had a Ecuadorian Connecticut wrapped cigar that has notes of like, and I'll just say like maybe a My Father Connecticut, has notes of like cedar and a little grassiness. Connecticut wrappers typically have like a kind of a sour, bitter type of flavor a little bit, but that particular cigar also has some spiciness, also has that requisite amount of pepper that My Father cigars are typically known for, right? But then you go drink a Glenmorangie Nectar d'Or, which is light caramel, has a
very fruity.
Yes.
Very fruity.
Yes, right?
Very fruity.
So those two things will kind of play seesaw on your palate, because they're not similar flavors, right? But you can perceive both of the flavors in both the spirit and the cigar.
But Damon, do you think people are really thinking about that when they're out drinking?
No,
they're not.
Most people no.
Now, I'm not going out to try to achieve a certain flavor, from my bourbon and my cigar for that night.
They're going to go to their go-to.
Yeah, they're going to go to
their
their go-to.
normally
They
drink.
for overall feeling, and that's
Right.
for euphoria.
Right.
However way they get it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
I agree with you totally. And see, the thing is like I've heard from a lot of different people on Instagram or Facebook, and also some events that I've done, where it's just to that point. It's like, well, when I'm smoking a cigar, drinking a spirit, I just want to drink this, and I just want to smoke this because I had it before. It tastes good to me, right? And they'll use the word pairing, right?
Right.
But see, this is where that whole snob thing y'all talk about. I'm a snob. I'm not a snob.
People get addicted to the feeling, not the flavors.
I'm simply saying that The word pairing, in my humble opinion, means that you are taking a deliberate effort to achieve a certain type of feeling or flavor on your palate, whether it's contrasting or building upon. Everybody who says they're pairing this with this is not pairing. Sometimes you're just drinking something
Right.
and you're smoking something.
Which, in all
And
honesty,
it-
is what I
Either
do.
for flavor or
It's
feeling.
whatever
Right,
I
exactly.
have
So then
in,
there's
at
no
the
right
house.
or wrong then.
I'm
There's no
pairing
right
it
or
with-
wrong.
There's no right or wrong.
There's no
Right.
right or wrong.
So
All
that's
I'm simply
important to
saying
note
is-
that.
All I'm simply saying is that the word pairing, and this is where the education part comes in, right? This is
Yeah.
where my nerdy tobacconist comes in, right? It's like you're not necessarily pairing. You're just drinking and smoking something that tastes good to you, right?
Right.
It could be
That's
a good
99
pairing,
yeah.
but most of the times it's probably not a pairing. You just like it.
And
Stop
sometimes-
using that. What you're saying is don't use that word unless you're taking a deliberate approach to it.
Exactly. That's all I'm saying.
I don't
Don't-
necessarily agree with that.
Don't,
Yeah.
but I can't believe we actually agree.
No,
Yeah. I feel where you're coming from.
No,
Yeah,
I
don't use
not
the
a
word
deliberate-
pairing unless you're actually taking a deliberate effort
Yes.
to do one of those two things.
Right.
But
Seesaw,
how do you know if
or-
you're seesaw or building unless you try it? So sometimes it's about trial and error.
Well, actually-
sometimes you actually have to try.
You're absolutely
And what
right.
you're pairing is what you're pairing, and sometimes it's deliberate and sometimes it's not. So
Well, it all comes back to education, right? So just like you were saying about, when you first started smoking cigars, you were smoking acids and fat bottom betties and all this
Uh-huh.
kind of stuff, but you remained open to trying different cigars, right?
That's key.
So now it's like somebody try to give you an infused cigar, you're like, what the hell is this?
yeah, I can't.
You know,
do
because
it.
like that's not the area that you're in. Your
Right.
palate has evolved,
Right,
right? So
right.
all I'm simply saying is be open
To
to
trying
experiencing a pairing where you deliberately pair this spirit or these spirits
To see
with
what
this
it does,
cigar
whether
or
it
these
builds.
cigars to see if this is a good. Because I could say that. Well, what am I drinking right now? What is this? What's the?
What are we
the-
drinking?
No, that right there. I'm drinking this Jefferson Ocean, right? Aged. I'm drinking that right now. I could say, well, this particular spirit is pairing very well with this Papa's Fritas, right?
Mm-hmm.
That could be my experience.
But what you
could
say?
smoke
Is it
and
built?
really-
Hold on. Is it building or is it the other thing that you're saying?
These are contrasting.
They're contrasting.
These are contrasting because this is light.
This is
It does
light,
not have
that's
anybody.
full.
It's smooth as hell. Has a little good caramel notes. Hardly any spice, but those caramel notes.
No bite.
Yeah, none at all. What is Papa's Fritas?
It's full.
No, it's not even full.
It's
It's
a
like
medium
Medium
plus.
plus.
It's medium
I would
plus.
say it's medium
Yeah,
plus.
Peter Papa's Fritas is medium plus, but
Medium
it has
plus.
a little bit of oakiness, has a little bit of leather, a tiny bit of white pepper, no spice at all, and maybe I would say maybe an undercurrent of some dark cherry notes,
Okay.
right? So they kind of playing seesaw. But my point is saying that I could say that this is a good pairing for me, but then you could do the same thing, like, I don't like it,
Right.
Right.
so it's not a good pairing for you.
Right.
right.
So it goes back to what we were saying before. Everybody's experience is different. But
Absolutely.
to your point, everybody has to be open to trying different things. That
Right.
way you know this, just because this person said that this is a good pairing, I tried it, it's not a
Doesn't
good
work for
pairing
you.
for me.
Right.
Right? There you go.
And so
Styles
what's
P.
the next thing
Styles
on that?
P.
So that means we have to respect that person and where they dwell at that time, right?
Right, so neither do
Right,
you,
so we
you
can't
don't cigar
discount
shame,
what
but you
somebody's
also
saying.
don't pair shame either.
Absolutely.
Don't cigar shame and
Absolutely.
don't pair shame.
There we go.
Because my experience is different from your experience.
There we go.
There it is.
All right, bam.